Welcome back, everyone. I'm still here in the spirit world. I'll show you some of the progress I've done now that I can transfer items between the two realms. You can see I have a full set of bound armor. I have a lot of gear. I'll go through a greatest hits in just a moment, but first I want to show you something that makes me a little bit sad. So I was hanging out here, getting ready to record, and there were some spiders under the ground here, and I could hear them. They were close to the surface, and they were annoying me, so I used my rod of travel, staff of traveling. And I came right here, and I shift right-clicked. Oh, it's not working right now. Okay, wait, let's see if I can find the spot. There we go. So I teleported down here, and, I killed the spiders. Oh, I think I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Killed the spiders, went over this way. Oh, yeah, here we go. And found, oh, hey, there's a spider dungeon. That's cool. Looked in this chest, had some random stuff. I'm taking the binding agent and some of the other things that I'll send back to the overworld. But then I looked in this chest. Yep. Right here, not 100 blocks away from where I've been making my base this whole time, have been 2 ender pearls in a chest. After all that trouble, after all that effort we went through, with no less than, 3-4 different methods to try and find an ender pearl? And one was literally right under our noses. That's so frustrating. And I mean, they're worthless to me now. I have an effectively infinite number of them from the overworld. Look how close this is. Okay, wait. This. Like, right here. It's that far. Less than 100 blocks. Ugh. Okay. Anyway. There's really no way we could have found it. Well, maybe there is. Anyway, a note for all of you who are trying to transfer items to the spirit world. While it is a successful method to find an ender pearl in a chest in the stronghold, apparently, at least in this mod pack, you can also find them in dungeon chests. And yeah, that might be a more common thing to find. Okay, anyway, let me show you, well, first let me show you some of the gear I brought over. As you can see, I've made some bound armor from blood magic. It has pretty much the same enchants as the one I use back in the overworld, so we can jump high, run fast. I have a sigil of the Green Grove on it, yeah, Green Grove. So plants grow very fast when I'm standing near them. Magnetism, so when I throw things, it will eventually pop right back. Awesome. And importantly, divination, sigil, so I can see in the dark. In addition, I went and enchanted it all using an anvil and some books. I also got infusion, stood under my XP shower for a while. There are 2 differences here in what I chose for this armor. First, I chose some bonus magic experience on the chest plate. What this means is if we want to level up in Ars Magica, we should do it here in the spirit world, because our bound armor is going to make that easier. The second thing that I did differently is on my boots, I put light step. Light step means if I ever stand in a place that could spawn mobs, they will, I will place an AM2 light there. So let's come down here. There we go. It just automatically places one floating in the air there. I don't love that they're floating in the air like that. I would prefer it if they were actually on the ground, because if you are standing here, yeah, and you're like fighting a mob or something, yeah, it keeps breaking the light instead of actually swinging the sword. Oh well. I made myself a rapier. This is actually more powerful than the one I have back in the overworld, and that is for two reasons. First of all, after reading a lot about how to make great weapons, I realized that the extra modifier is actually better than starting with Manulin for the blade. So it's basically thaumium blade and then all paper for everything else. And then I just loaded it with quartz. I didn't even put anything to recharge it, because it's easy enough to just grab some thaumium, recharge it with thaumium by repairing it in the tool forge. Okay, I've got my Staff of Traveling. I made myself a reed wand. The reed wand I made because it automatically refills some of the air aspect on it, which is the only one that's used for Focus of Lightning, which I brought with me. It's the only focus I have for the wand, but I wanted a ranged weapon so I could take out the little spirits or whatever. Yeah. And lightning is great because it's aimed, or it tracks them a little bit. I also have this ender pouch. This ender pouch directly adds things to my AE system back in the overworld. Right now that AE system isn't loaded because I don't have my base chunk loaded at the moment. So things will just sit here until I go back to the overworld. If I chunk loaded my base, then those things would get sucked up into it. I have an air sigil for fast travel. I have a spell book. It has a flight spell and a dig spell. Dig spell's not nearly as good as the one I have in the overworld. It doesn't have silk touch, and it doesn't have the modifier that makes it so I can break really hard materials. So I can't use it for obsidian, but whatever, that's fine. Then I also have my old golden bag of holding, and in here I've got flint and steel, a force wrench in case I find chests or spawners I want to pick up, an essence pickaxe, so this is unbreakable, so it never takes durability damage, but it's fortune 3, which is awesome. A builder's wand, some icy needles. I brought some safari nets. I had hoped to catch a spirit and a nightmare in safari nets, but I think they've been blacklisted. Could not catch them in the nets. Oh well. I've got them here just in case I find something else I need them for. And then I've got a crescent hammer. You know, for crescent hammering stuff. I've also made a little bit of a base, a little bit better than what we had, rather than having this sort of row of machines here. I've taken basically everything, moved it over here. This spot right here is where we show up when we portal in right by the Dreamcatcher. So this corresponds very well to the witchery area we have set up in the overworld. And so you can see I've planted some trees, make it look a little nicer. Brought over a spinning wheel. I have a kettle set up, and I have it set up with an aqueous accumulator down below. so that we always have water coming into it. I've got an altar to power the kettle and the wheel. And I added some, things on the altar just to upgrade it. That's really probably not necessary. You can't do circle magic in the spirit world, but so we don't really need that much altar power. But I decided that I would put them on anyway because they look nice. I also have some witches' robes for when we eventually do brewing. And then over here, I have a kind of a very basic setup. I moved over a lot of the machines I made, when we were over by the mine entrance. All the Tinker's Construct stuff, and then all the thermal expansion stuff. And I also made an energetic infuser. This is exclusively for recharging my staff of traveling, but I'm fine with that. Theoretically, if I had made my rapier differently, it would also recharge the rapier. Oh well. This rapier is maxed out. I can't possibly add anything more to it. It's pretty great. The other rapier two-shots zombies. This one-shots most zombies. I haven't tried it on a brainy zombie, but it's pretty nice, pretty potent. Probably not practical for everyday use, but we will not be here in the spirit world for that much longer. Yeah, and then this diamond chest is where I put all the stuff from those chests over in the other area. In case. It's possible someday I might want to come and build a base here in the spirit world, in which case having this infrastructure will be nice. Oh, and powering everything, I have a tesseract, which is, powering everything, and theoretically I could pump items in, or liquids, or whatever, but I can use the ender chest for that as well. Okay, so this is where I'm going to grow wispy cotton, but wispy cotton doesn't grow unless it is around flowing spirit. So we need to brew our first brew of flowing spirit. That requires fanciful thread, moss, artichoke, glintweed. So moss, artichoke, glintweed, mandrake, and wool of bat. And I brought plenty of glass bottles as well. Over here, I have made all the thread we could with the cotton that I could easily find. So, put on the witch's robes and hat so that we get potentially extra potions. And let's give this a try. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6 ingredients. Okay, and we got 3 brews of flowing spirit. Let's come over here. Now wherever the brew of flowing spirit hits, you can see it's a thrown potion. It makes a source block of flowing spirit, which is a fluid. So now that we have flowing spirit there, I think theoretically this wispy cotton will spread. We'll have to look. I'm not clear on whether it can only spread 2 tiles where it's adjacent to flowing spirit, or away from tiles where it's adjacent to flowing spirit. So I'll keep an eye on this and see if it spreads at all. If it does, hooray. it means we don't really need to go looking again. And we can maybe set something up with, I don't know, an autonomous activator or something else that will harvest it whenever it spreads, so that we can collect automatically all the wispy cotton we might need. The other uses for the brew of flowing spirit are, I guess, some armor in the form of the bark belt. Let's sprue up focused will and condensed fear, which are themselves and hollow tears, which are all themselves used in further crafting. Also the Dreamweaver of Intensity, I'm not sure what that does, but I think modifies how you experience the dream world, potentially, and also can make it so your dreams have actual effects if you sleep in your bed. Okay, so I am going to brew up a little bit more of this flowing spirit. I'm actually going to brew as much as I can, given this amount of fanciful thread, because why not? I'm here. Each time I come here, it costs a brew of sleeping, so I kind of want to do as much as I can while I'm here this time, so that we have to come back as infrequently as possible. So once I brew all these up, hopefully we'll see whether this is growing or not. Yeah, so I'll test that, and I'll brew these up, and then be right back, possibly to finish up our time here in the spirit world, allowing us to move on to other things, finally. Took long enough. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, it is definitely affected by the sigil of the Green Grove, although it's actually interesting. It looks like the plants only grow when they are very specifically positioned. So if you put other... So I had it before so that I tried to put two of these setups next to each other, with the wispy cotton surrounding the block, or sorry, the flowing spirit, and I wasn't getting any growth for a long time. So turns out it's something peculiar about this particular arrangement. I'm actually just going to let it sit here for just a second more, see whether the presence of that extra cotton there, yeah, it looks like it's preventing it from actually producing any more cotton. So when I break this, yeah, see, relatively quickly cotton will appear. So it looks like what happens is that this arrangement will produce one cotton after some sort of growth tick, but only if there is no other cotton within a certain radius, probably within the area where it can actually grow the cotton. Good to know. But now I have a ton of the stuff. So, why don't we head back to the overworld, where we can use it. Whoa. Trippy. There is my sleeping body. Up. And I'm back. Okay, apparently 2 wispy cotton helps to improve the chance of dreams. More than that doesn't help an additional amount. Okay, and my AE system is down. Let's wrench it. Oh. Huh. Looks like I ran out of power. That is interesting. Oh, wow. Everything is off. I bet, for some reason, my base was loaded, but my mining laser was not. So I bet it used up all the fuel I had, all the yellorium. That would be interesting. Let's double check to see if that's the case. To do that, we just need to come here and add some power to the ME system. Oh. Nope. Looks like yellorium is there. And we have plenty of plutonium as well. I guess, for whatever reason, my AE system must just have been I don't know. I don't know. Must have stopped exporting for some reason. Oh well. Looks like that jump-started it. So we should be able to take this back now. And everything should still work. How mysterious, but I'm not going to concern myself with that overmuch. Now we can put... Oh. Of course. We are still patchy on power and will be until this turbine gets up to speed, which does not happen instantly. But as it does, we will gain more and more power. The other way I could have kickstarted this, I'm just now realizing, is to come over here and grab some plutonium or... Huh. I guess I don't have yellorium in deep storage. That's an oversight. I probably should. Oh well. Just want to double check, see what sort of annoying non-stackable items I have in the system. Yeah. They periodically start trying to fill my system up, so I try to clear them out every now and again. Yep. Looks like I only have room for 10 more types of items. in my ME system. It's interesting. I may have to expand to another storage drive. Let's tell the system to make 10 more 64K storage cells. Because why not? We've got a bunch of quartz, probably not enough for that, but we'll see how far we get. Okay. So, let's use some of that stuff that we got from the spirit world. Some of this flowing spirit. I believe we needed oil of vitriol as well. And if we take those two things and put them here, yep, they start distilling. Excellent. Let's see. What else do we want to do? We've got a bunch of this wispy cotton. Its only use, it seems, is crafting fanciful thread. But we've got some of that, so we'll save it for now. Okay, let's look at other things we may need this for. So, it's almost certainly, I mean, it's definitely used in certain rituals, also used to make some gear. Why don't we make one of the gear items that we need? Yeah, okay, so let's make this biting belt. The biting belt can basically apply potion effects when you're hit, but it's also used to craft another belt that's going to be kind of cool. So, okay, I am looking for, here we go, impregnated leather. We'll need a little bit of that. Now we can probably craft the biting belt, and remember this mellifluous hunger we got off of nightmares. And now, using that, we can craft the bark belt, which uses 4 brews of flowing spirit. The bark belt is pretty cool. Let's put it here. Now we can put on our witchery gear. And what's neat is that as long as we're standing on grass or dirt, I think, we will grow bark. And that will absorb hits that come and try to harm us, which is pretty cool. I think we also need some shoes, though. So witchery adds a few different possibilities. Icy slippers, which freeze nearby water and obsidian I don't like that. I don't want to freeze my base as I'm walking through it. The ruby slippers. Which can teleport on a cooldown. Kinda neat. There's also the seeping shoes. And this is, I think, what we're going to make. Oh, except it requires redstone soup. Oh, we've got one still. Okay. So we'll need 3 buckets of milk. And we'll need 2 witches' hands. So let's do this. Spawn a couple witches. We've got 2 or more witches' hands now. Holy cow, that's effective and kind of crazy fast to spawn witches, and they drop so many witches' hands. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so milk. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's head back over here. There we go. And make our cool seeping shoes. They remove poison effects when standing on the ground. Cool. So now we have a full set of witchery gear. Let's see. Yeah, look at ourselves. Pretty cool. Actually, let's get out our witchery items. We could have a witch's hand. That's very spooky. You can even see the red where it looks like we probably tore it off of the witch. Or our wand. That looks more appropriate, given the fact that we're covered in bark. But yeah, pretty neat. So next episode, we'll get into the real reason we needed all those spirits, a use for a lot of that cotton, and yeah, probably we'll use that disturbed cotton as well, or not the disturbed cotton, the brews of flowing spirit. Put that to actual use in necromancy. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Seems like witchery's taken a really long time. It's a really extensive mod. Adds a lot of things that take a while. I really like it. I think it adds something fresh, and as you can tell, it's one of those mods that's neat because even if you've got the greatest infrastructure in the world, it's still not trivial. It still takes some effort to get witchery going. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.